Thank you so much, and thank you for having us. As stated, I'm Samantha Getsos. It's really a great honor to be with you this morning, along with my colleague, Dennis Kriel. We're part of the UP community. I'm situated in the Faculty of Law. For the better part of 6 years now, I have been teaching final year law students, and I've recently joined the team working with third year LLB students. But this project that we want to introduce to you today specifically centers around an experiment that we did at the beginning of this year with my practical law students. So you'll see on screen there on the right-hand side, that is the graduating class of 2024. They are final year LLB students, and they participated in an experiment using AI, where we designed an AI chatbot to prepare them for live client consultations. So these are students stepping into the LLB profession, and it's very important that they also get a practical experience at an undergraduate level to really prepare them to practice the law. It's learning by doing. Now, as practical law students, they do have the opportunity through what is known as the University of Pretoria Law Clinic to actually work with clients, give them legal advice, and really put their theory into practice. But this is an elective module, so it is available to only a select few students in the LLB curriculum currently. And you'll see there on screen in point number 1, there's a call from the Dean of Law, and she advocates for contextual legal education that equips students with the necessary skills and competencies to enter the legal profession. And this call to action was echoed by UP's Law House, who says at an undergraduate level, before they actually step into the legal profession, they need practical experience. Now, they've had a wealth of knowledge through extensive theoretical modules, which they have, explored over 4 or 5 years. But practical law is really the only module at this point that bridges the practical application of that theoretical study. And it does that through a concept known as clinical legal education. And so they are based at the University of Pretoria Law Clinic, where we work one-on-one with a student group. This year we had about 80 students that took the elective module, and we actually prepare them through various simulations, in person and virtual, to actually have the skill and competency to sit in a real consultation with a real client and field legal questions. So in our study, we reflected on a student-centered approach using AI, because we're looking at this idea of curriculum transformation to reimagine assessment in legal education. How do we do that individually, not only virtually, but individually, so that they can hone the skills that would be required in the legal profession? So in around March this year, Dennis and discussion around creating what you see now on screen and as known as Millie Price. Now, Millie Price is an AI chatbot, and we named her Millie Price, and we gave her a scenario. I was in charge of actually creating her character, and Dennis would then do the work in the background to actually make sure that she has a main prompt, which we'll work through later, and actually has the ability to engage with students at home, individually and virtually, to hone those individual skills and competencies that they would need. As far as we know, this is the first of its kind, and the uptake on our experiment was great. Millie really created an additional practice opportunity so that we could control and monitor, more so monitor the uptake of skills and competencies in the practical law module. So she was a learning and assessment tool. Look and feel like to be in a legal consultation and provide legal advice. So the first legal consultation that these students were exposed to, they had an opportunity to sit individually and they interacted with Millie and had to draw out information. Now, in any given legal consultation, your client's not really going to give you the information in the format that you would need. So they really had to guide the bot in a way to field questions and answers that would be relevant to their mandate. How do they discharge their mandate? And Millie approached them to institute divorce proceedings. University of Pretoria Law Clinic on the ground, they're not only providing legal advice, they are doing all the legal drafting, they're doing all the consulting, they're drafting correspondence, pleadings, and other court documents. And that was the framework in which we actually created Millie Price. And her role was to prepare these students for a simulation that we host annually using the UP School of Arts drama students. Now, these drama students naturally would have a script, very much like the script that Millie Price was given, and they would then present themselves as a client to a group of students who would then actually step into the role of a legal practitioner to give legal advice. So Millie was the very first point of contact for the graduating class of 2024. How do we do the job that we are going to be employed to do? They were then faced with the drama students, and following that intervention, we then placed them in front of real clients with real legal issues that they had to work, and in a group setting, but also very much individually, discharge their mandate. And what we found was that as presenters, Dennis and I played around with Millie quite a lot. We tested her capabilities, and what we found was that she is adaptive, effective, and efficient in answering questions. Our conversations with her mirrored human-like qualities observed during a real consultation that we would actually see at the University of Pretoria Law Clinic. She has the ability to field a number of questions accurately and efficiently. And her answers, most importantly, her answers portrayed her character and displayed the requisite emotion and information required to simulate the experience. We wanted this to be a simulation that as closely as possible mirrors what they would actually step into at the UPLC. And the student feedback, as you can see on screen, was very surprising. And they said that it was a great tool to really guide their understanding on how to phrase questions and lead a consultation. It is an exciting intervention that really exposed them through a very much a simulated exercise to what a live client consultation would look like. And they said it was an effective learning intervention. We use this as a formative assessment. Now, these students have formative and summative assessments. Most of it is limited to in-person training initiatives. And this would really be the first of its kind to put them in front of a client and allow them to explore what a real consultation would feel like, build their confidence, hone individual skills and competencies. So in reflecting on, Dennis, I'll hand over to you now. Us lawyers, we're always a little bit wordy. In reflecting on this project, We both feel that this is a project not only limited to final year law students. We are going to play around with the scale and module diversity of this project very soon. I want to introduce it now to a much bigger group. I have over 600 law of evidence students, and we want to see how something similar could really guide their thought processes in a completely different module, really then cementing contextual legal education in different modules and exposing the LLB graduates to a practical experience that would be invaluable for them before they step into the profession. Right, I'm going to hand over to Dennis now to show you how we went about actually actioning this.
Thank you. Luckily, I can speak fast. So. Okay, so this is the prompt that we use. As was mentioned, this was the persona that we gave her. I basically gave this as the instruction for the AI chatbot. Now, how it works is this is the main instruction, this is the main prompt, but we've got a whole document with more information back end that's been integrated into a vector database that can then be accessed by the bot to give more information. Next, we've also got just some of the results that we have. So we had 131 conversations by the students. They used up 2.5 million tokens. That was 1.8 million words, 4,000 pages, and which I think was quite impressive. They really enjoyed talking to the bot and trying to get the best out of it. And then cost around this project was about 8,000 a year to buy the tokens. We had to buy new tokens while they were busy because they did use them up, but that's give you just some scope of the project so far. Now, we want you to just have a chance to play with Millie yourself, just 1 minute or two. So you're welcome to scan that on your phone. And I've also posted in the chat a link that you can click on if you want to do this on yourself. But just to show you, share application screen. So here's Millie Price. You know, Millie. Now, if I'm playing the role of a student, I would say, "Are you?" You know, you can see the bot is already emotive. You know, how the kid's doing. So I just want to say that this wasn't trained in. This was the chatbot taking initiative in thinking about how this person would feel and playing that role. So these emotive answers that we're getting out of it is not trained in. It's not like I sat there and thought of these questions and what the answers would be. The bot is taking initiative on its own and putting it in Millie's shoes. That's one of the key things that came out, and the students said as well, is what it was very lifelike. I could ask it more questions around it, but you can already see that it's giving these kind of responses. So I'm just mindful of time. Yeah, so this summarizes basically what we've done. If you've got more questions, you're very welcome to contact us. And I just want to, Sam, can you put the slide on for us again, please? While we do that, and if you don't mind, if I can open up the floor for any questions you might have in the chat or verbally. Yes, go on.
Sorry, it took a while to unmute. This is really, I love what you've done, and I think including it into varsities for students is really good. I've got an educational bot on my website that we've had interactions with, and we train that on the curriculum to help answers. What I suppose one of my back-end concerns is how does it impact the bias in terms of this in relation to Africa? So did you explain to your bot that they're African and give context, or how did you address that in terms of knowing that there's bias against Africa, please?
Yes, so basically I added that within the prompting, and when the persona was trained, I gave it specific context about where, etc. I must say it's not something that we really picked up from the students or from ourselves, because we gave it a proper context of where it was and the setting and environment it was in.
Thank you.
Yeah, if I may, I'll just say that we created not only instruction for what type of legal issues Millie would have. We created a character in a closed universe for these students to interact with. So we would have to design the simulation around the specific learning outcomes and then design the character that would follow. And that's what Millie was.
Thank you very much.
Yes, any other questions? And thank you, Janique.
I do see one in the chat by Janique. She's asking, sorry, I'm assuming here, they are asking, how do we code a chatbot? This is amazing.
Thank you. Thank you for the feedback. I must say we're cheating slightly. There's a link to the platform we're using. If you would like to play around with the technology, and it does make it much easier because it handles the heavy coding for you. You just have to think about your prompting and your knowledge base that you want to give it. If you want to, you're very welcome to email me as well, and I can give you some more information around that.
Thank you once again, and thank you so much for that answer, Dennis. We have unfortunately reached time, so I'd just like to thank both you and Samantha for your presentation. And as a reminder, do not forget the lunch hour session today with Lucinda Pienaar, who will lead us into a physical activity to avoid online fatigue. Also remember that during our conference social at the end of the day and the closing of the day too, there'll be lucky draws and spin the wheel with Perligo prizes. Thank you once again for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you in some of the next sessions.